Test. Okay, now we got sound. Okay, so I had to reset it last week, and apparently there were still some hiccups. Anyways, yeah, let's start over. So, hey, Marvel fans, it is Thor's Day. You know what that means? It is time for us to talk about Moon Knight, episode 5. And we've got some Marvel Cinematic news, teasers, and speculation to come for you. Don't forget to. I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up here. I'm looking at the wrong thing. So yeah, don't miss out. This is the FOMO show. So yeah, sorry about that. Once again, this is Dylan.
I'm Quinn.
And thank you guys for watching and putting up with our shenanigans. And this is just how live feeds go sometimes. Sometimes there are technical difficulties. So yeah, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Trovo, whatever, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop new videos and all that fun stuff, so you can be along for the silliness and screw ups and all this jazz. I'm gonna scoot that just a little bit. There we go. Also, thank you guys for your support. Whether you want to drop us some cash through the little tip link in the description, or if you want to just like and share, that is a huge thing, and it really helps us. Thank you guys so much. Also, don't forget to check out the website at www.broken.picturesnew.com. You can check out our merch on there, and also comment. Let me know what you'd like to see, what kind of products you'd like to see. Yeah, special notes, just still stay healthy out there. Apparently we are officially not in pandemic mode anymore in America. Yeah, but I mean, there's still things to watch, different things popping up here and there, but we're not in a pandemic anymore, y'all. This is news for celebration. So okay, that's supposed to be like a crowd clapping, but that sounded really weird.
The robots won.
The robots won. This is not our Westworld coverage, but wow, when is Westworld coming back? Speaking of, there was a scene that was in this show in this episode that was very Westworld like. Mark's kills all line up. So anyways, yeah, just stay healthy and enjoy your life, because we're not in a pandemic no more. Yee.
Yes.
All right. So with that, I will pass it off to my esteemed colleague.
It's me.
DJ Quinn.
And now welcome back.
Here's the new. I'm kidding. All right, so
this new track is fire.
DJ Khaled.
Another one. Sorry, that's how I'm gonna introduce all of our episodes from now on.
All right. If you haven't left now, I will say this is probably your final chance, because this is your spoiler alert. Yes. Thank you. In this episode of the FOMO Show, we will be talking about episode 5 of Moon Knight, Asylum. What a doozy. So, if you haven't watched that, pause this, go watch that, and then come back, unless you enjoy being spoiled. You have been warned. Sedate them.
This was a really fun episode.
Yes. So,
with that, we also want to give just a trigger warning in case for real though, I'm joking, but for real though, if you are triggered by DID, dissociative identity disorder, or childhood trauma, or childhood abuse, or anything like that, please seek help, and you might want to sit this one out. There are some very, very heavy things in this episode that deal with mental health in a very mature way, actually. Like, considering being fantasy, like we were joking earlier, it's like I like my fantasy to be Steven. It's like to you know, enjoy all the good things and not be close to home or dark or heavy, unless that's what I was looking for. But I mean, this is comic books. Hey, there's some dark comic books, so that's not really
dark stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're Martin Scorsese, comic books for kids, but this one is not. So yeah, just a trigger warning there for anybody that is triggered by those things. So
all right. Well, that's all right. It's me again. Episode 5.
what are you trying to do to me?
Sorry.
Bruh, trying to kill me.
A good laughing fit, dang.
Almost did a spit take all over the place.
All right. Episode 5. Asylum. Mark and Steven search through their memories to find their truth or become left behind. Yes. So, there's a lot. It's really tiny now.
Yeah. If I make it, that's the thing with this thing. If I make it bigger, everything becomes bigger. So,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah.
All right.
So, dive into the speculation with us as we talk about what's coming and
What is
everything.
What isn't?
Yes.
Yes. So, rating the episode, I will give it a gold star out of 10.
A gold star?
A gold star, which means it's beyond 10.
Ooh.
I cannot rate it.
Ooh.
It was
Man.
for it being in the genre that it's in, and the show that it came in here starting off as, and where we currently are, and everything else that exists around it. It's probably the best thing I've seen, because it's so it's so everything, and it's still it became something completely different for a whole episode while keeping the same elements and essence of what it actually is supposed to be. Yeah. So, all right, your turn.
So, I'm going to give it 9 Enneads.
All right.
So that's actually 9 times 9, which is, what, 98?
Yes.
So,
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, this episode it was a lot to process. Like, when I first watched it, I was like, wow, this is really good. Then I started watching the breakdowns, and it was like, whoa, there's a lot in this episode. And then I started rewatching it, and it was just like, it was sinking in. And then I started talking to you about it, and then my eyes started welling up. I was just like, damn, this is like shit. This is some stuff, man. This is a very, very heavy episode. And I like dark things.
Yeah.
Like, besides my friends. And, and my coffee. But yeah, I mean, but I mean, like, Fight Club's one of my favorite movies, and you could say what you want about it being, you know, this adolescent male fantasy or whatever, but there are some dark things that men have to reckon with in that movie. That you kind of come face to face, especially at that age group or whatever, about around that age range. But the way it was tackled is what I like about it. Outside of having read the book and watched the movie, I thought it was handled really well. Even though it was the way it was handled was fun and entertaining and all that stuff. And of course, but this episode or this whole series has been handling what used to be known as multiple personality disorder is now known as dissociative identity disorder. Whether you call them alters or personalities, I'm not 100% sure on the updated lingo on that. I think they're alters is what they're called now rather than personalities because of some connotation. I don't know. I'm not a professional. I'm not going to get into that. But everything that I have seen, even in the with the breakdowns and everybody that's been talking about this, as far as I can tell, I don't have it. I don't know anybody that has it. It has handled it in a very real and respectful way, and which can get very, very hairy when you're talking about dealing with superheroes and fantasy.
Yeah.
And Disney. So.
And also Disney.
Yeah. But man, they did not pull their punches in this episode.
No, they did not. They,
Unlike Batman.
So, the beginning of the episode picks up right where it left off. Well, picks up right where it left off.
So one of my favorite things is like movies like Evil Dead 2 and the way Marvel and some horror comedies just bounce back and forth between in your face real issues, and then you're looking at a hippo, a giant hippo going hi and twiddling her ears and her nostrils flaring, and it balances this fantasy in such a very it's done so well is what I'm trying to say. It's like,
Yes.
because you get to there just like, this is stupid, this is silly, but then you want to cry at the end of it because latest gators.
Oh boy.
Jeez. And that, man, that's such good storytelling.
It really was. As you know, everybody in the universe and their mama said, we had the goddess of birth and fertility in front of us. Well, Steven said different. Steven said the goddess of women and children.
Well, yeah, so she does both.
She does both.
Yeah. Which is in itself is also a really good parallel to what he needed versus how we saw his mother.
Yes.
How his mother really is. She's the one that needed to be there for him.
Yeah.
So.
So he has been dead. I mean, we figured, we knew, but it was for a minute there.
He has been dead?
He's this entire time. Like, it wasn't all in his head, like he wasn't actually in a psych ward and we weren't seeing a fever dream of some really powerful
So
drugs.
when you're saying he's been dead, you mean this episode?
Yes.
Okay, because you threw me for a loop, because remember episode 1?
Yes.
When the little girl said, was it embarrassing to get rejected by the Field of Reeds? Because he's like, no, because I'm not dead, am I? Episode 1 was that, and so I don't know if they were playing with the fact that Steven is not a real person, or there's something yet to be revealed about this entire thing. So if this is a limited series and this is a one-off, all this could be happening inside the mind of a man just sitting in a psych ward, or he's just this entire thing is him trying to balance his life.
I can't let it be that. In my head, I can't let it be that, because then I'm like, no. Because anytime a show or something like that appears and like it turns out this entire very long and emotional, very good journey that I've been on, it's just
They pulled a San Elmo. They might pull a San Elmo's fire on us.
oh boy.
So I mean, like this show ran for like multiple seasons. It was like this hospital drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the equivalent of watching like 12 seasons of ER, and then the last episode is like, oh, all this was happening in the mind of a child with autism.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it. I like the artsy feel to it, the bringing other elements in. Yeah, that's cool. But please don't do this to me. Please. But
I mean, I see why they submitted it for an Emmy now.
yeah,
Because I was like, I mean, it's good, but like, is it that good?
yeah,
Is it like Loki good?
it's gold star good.
This episode really, really roped me in.
Yeah,
Next week, good God.
the pacing of it was ridiculous because I'm like, how long is this actually? So yes, after she introduces herself and explains all the rules, thumbs through her little scrolls.
It's great. She's got blue fingernails. Did you notice that?
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she? Okay.
I don't know.
So, but then it does this thing that I still haven't like in my head figured out what's actually happening, which is why I like in my gut I'm very worried. Of him and Steven are there. They're talking to her. They go out on the boat, all that jazz, and then something happens.
Oh, so well, I don't want to interrupt you, but there are a couple things I want to hit before. So let's come back to that.
Okay. And he goes back to Arthur Harrow's office, and he's sitting there in the chair, and he's talking to him, and it's that several times throughout the episode, and then when they do the switch and then it's Steven.
Yeah, it's like Inception. It's
Yeah.
like a dream within a dream within a dream. Right.
And
But why is it Arthur Harrow? I mean,
Yeah.
I get that there are things that are familiar to him, and maybe his mind, like he said, this is just a holding principle or something like that, to where the psyche is filling in the gaps of what it thinks it should be, which is why Crowley and all the people were there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it also works well with the audience wondering if this is reality, and it's the opposite. You know what I mean?
I have only two thoughts of why it's Arthur Harrow. One is because, but then this thought doesn't apply to everybody else, and that's where it gets muddy. The fact that they were both avatars of Khonshu.
Well, and in his, so if we're going with the idea or the theory that the entire thing is happening in a psych ward, then it makes sense that the villain, because we've seen this before with other properties, the villain is the psychiatrist. You know, whether you're dealing with a Shutter Island or things like that, right?
Yes.
So, if that's the case, then Arthur Harrow is a personification of the man that's coming against his reality, right? There's a couple scenes that on heavy spoilers somebody pointed out to him. The scene where I think it was in episode 2 where he meets Arthur Harrow at his compound, and he is introduced to him in cuffs. And then he has them take him out of the cuffs, and then he shows him around, and there are people just sitting watching like dolphin videos, just like calming videos, and then he brings him to the food and eats with him and shows him that it's okay, and then sits down with him, and all those are things that would happen in the introduction to a mental hospital.
Yeah.
That you see people doing calming things, and it's just like it's his mind filling in the gaps of his adventure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, going with the theory that the entire thing is happening in his head.
And no one else can see the creature.
Yeah, and so that it would make sense if Arthur Harrow was a previous Avatar, because he's the one. Hey, I get you. I understand you. You know.
Yeah. I'm not happy anymore. It's fun.
It could go so many ways.
It could go, yeah. But there's so many. So there's that pinpoint of he keeps flipping back to the office. But then there's also when it's him and Steven and I forgot her name. Hippo God?
Tawet.
Tawet. Tutu. Tawet. When they're there on the boat, you can visibly see things happening that are affecting this world, affecting the underworld.
Right, where the boat is turning and the light fixtures,
Yes.
which we have seen in the credits since episode 1.
Yeah.
So everything is tied back. It's all connected.
It's all connected. And then there's also, I have this further down, but there's also the fact that there's a point in time with the episode where she's like, oh, there are souls being sent here who are being sent here well before their time, which means the outside world, our hero's winning, or he's won.
Yeah. Yeah, Amit is wreaking havoc right now.
Yeah. So
what does that look like? Just like,
So yeah, that's another thing that's going on. There's a lot, but okay. Steven then goes on a walkabout.
He does. Okay, let's circle back to just a little confirmation of because this is not supposedly not tying into the greater Marvel universe, but it is doing some extreme world building right now. And we'll hopefully come back to whether or not he actually turned the sky back in time, because that was one of his memories on the boat.
Yeah.
So how that plays into the greater Marvel universe and the eclipse and all that, we will see. But Tawet did confirm something that we mentioned last week that I heard from Screen Crush, or not Screen Crush, but New Rockstars, because I watch all of them, so you don't have to. And so the theory was that basically the afterlife, you go into your interpretation of it, right? Just like in Black Panther, when T'Challa went into the afterworld, it was astral world. It was the ancestral planes, right?
Yeah.
When Killmonger went, it was the apartment that his father died in.
Yeah.
So it's an interpretation based on the person's psyche, right? And that kind of explains how all these gods exist and how they are having real experiences with their gods in the MCU, in the Marvel universe, because Thor: Love and Thunder is about to happen, and we're getting confirmation of we've already got a long time ago, of course, got confirmation of the Norse gods, and then we got confirmation of the Egyptian gods, and now we're getting confirmation of the Greek gods, because Zeus and everything. So in the comics, they're basically like they're kind of like, and Thor kind of explained that too, where they live in different realms, and they are interpreted to be gods, and even though they might represent some fact of nature or things like that, their belief in them kind of feeds them, gives them power. Although I'm not sure how that works with Odin, because he's the Allfather, and
His powers came from the Infinity Stones.
yeah.
I'm
Okay.
dead.
So then how did Thor get his power?
Because he's birthed.
With Infinity Stones?
Not birthed with Infinity Stones. He's birthed from Odin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least with the Ennead, they are basically just aliens from a different dimension that live in this pyramid in space. You know, excuse me, and we're also getting into this with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. We got into this with Shang-Chi, where a lot of the ancient religion and those types of things are basically just in another dimension. You don't like the Dweller of Darkness. You know, he's speaking to him from another dimension. We've got Wanda hearing whispers from our kids from another dimension or another timeline. Timeline is basically just another dimension at this point. It's like they're equivalent almost. But some dimensions are like, what is it? The 9 different realms that Thor named. Those might just be the ones that they know of.
The ones that they can travel to.
Okay.
Because
Odin conquered them at one point.
Yeah, they're all like, because they're all part of, like, you can go through the world tree to get to each one of them. Yeah. So because they have, like, I forgot the ones where all the elves are from. Not the dark elves, the other elves.
The dark world. The other elves.
Yes.
Like Legolas.
Like Legolas. Yes. Yeah. Then there's whatever. I forgot the name of the one the Frost Giants are from.
Almost called the Bifrost, but no. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
Earth is Midgard. Like they have their own names for
They
each.
have their own names. Yeah. Asgard was Asgard. Or was it Highgard?
I don't know.
But yeah. So essentially, the Bifrost Rainbow Bridge is what you could use to go to each of these realms. But they all existed within this same timeline, if that makes any sense. If it basically the Bifrost Rainbow Bridge, which is a giant wormhole.
Yeah. So the timelines are the same but different. And I don't know. I'm sorry for the squeaking. But yeah. So they deal with time, and dimensions deal with space. So yeah, very complicated, but I mean, comic books makes it work. And, you know, and what's even weirder is like what we're finding out about science and parallel universes and pocket dimensions, and like all this stuff is like kind of like low key confirming like all this. It's insane. Anyways. Maybe it's a confirmation bias at this point. I don't know. But the point is, I forgot the point. Where was I going with this?
The gods existing?
The gods existing. Yeah, so there are all these different gods from all these different places, and they all coexist. And oh, that's right. The ancestral planes. She mentioned the ancestral planes. It's beautiful. So basically, whatever God system you ascribe to is is who you're processed by when you die. And that's why she was like, "Oh, we haven't had anybody here in a while because man, you know, the rift between God and man.
Yeah,
you know that
homies said Egyptian gods, funny, and continued about their way." So.
Yeah, so they don't have many. I mean, it makes sense that he would go there because he obviously believes in and is a servant of Moon Knight, or not Moon Knight, Khonshu. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, just like if you were to die on Olympia, most likely you will see Hades in his ugly glory. So, I believe,
So yeah, big confirmation for world building in the MCU and how all the gods fit together and how it works and how you can have these gods and those gods and all these other gods and all these things happening all at the same time. And big Doctor Strange teaser. Did you see this online?
No.
There's one of the online teasers confirmed the Living Tribunal.
Oh.
So there is like a hierarchy of gods in the MCU, and the
Yeah.
Living Tribunal is the one, like the god of the multiverse. Like he
Yeah.
goes kind of, and so it makes sense that he would show up in that. But
Ooh.
if next episode they have to decide if Mark can go home to Earth, who would they go to? If the Ennead is not sure, somebody like the Living Tribunal.
Take it to our boss.
Send him up the chain.
Yeah.
So it could I keep saying low key, but I don't mean like low key. Could low key tie into Doctor Strange, which comes out next weekend, right after.
We got tickets.
You. So is it? No, it's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Next weekend.
So it's going to be right after the finale.
Mm-hmm.
So it might just. Usually, how these things go is the finale will kind of leap or launch into what's coming.
Yeah. Typically, that's how it goes. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
And originally, before COVID and everything, WandaVision was supposed to leapfrog into this.
Yeah.
Not to this, but
And a Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Moon Knight wasn't even on the radar at that point, as far as we knew, anyways. So, for them to drop Moon Knight right before is interesting,
Maybe they have
especially for it to end the week of.
of it coming out the day after. The day before, I mean, because then like you can get tickets Thursday night.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very interesting. Whether it ties in or not, we'll see. Apparently, there's all kinds of shit happening in Doctor Strange that.
Once again, I don't want to say how this movie is such a low runtime for like a Marvel, basically a crossover.
It's basically
event.
every corner he walks, every frame he walks by, he's gonna be just walking by a cameo or something.
Get the goddamn.
It's gonna be like in Deadpool. It's like opening the door and there's everybody who shuts the door.
Everybody.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I'm trying to stay lighthearted, not really wanting to get into the deep shit here. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, Mark goes on a walkabout. Steven.
Yes.
Yeah, because she pulls their hearts, and another Indiana Jones reference.
Yeah.
Call him all.
Just like, I've never done it so cleanly.
Yeah, because it pushed your chests. So yeah, the stone hearts puts them on the scale, and with Steven's heart there, it does not balance.
It did not. So if she probably put Mark's there by itself, it probably would have.
Potentially.
Potentially. No, it wouldn't have.
Because it would have been it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have been a whole thing.
Yeah. So he wouldn't have because he was unbalanced because him and Steven. He was aware of Steven, but Steven wasn't aware of him. And then once they started doing this mess and blending into each other's lives, and then in moments of extreme, whatever you want to call it, just blinking out, then they were like, this is starting to become a problem. But they're both not aware of Jake.
It doesn't seem that way.
It doesn't seem that way.
Which, I mean, we've got some huge teases for Jake outside of the red sarcophagus, which is obvious.
Yeah.
You couldn't even be more on the nose.
Trying to get out.
Yeah, so I like the analogy that you gave about. You want to go ahead and
with the
red?
colors? Yes. So, on a faucet, just a regular little faucet, you have your cold handle. You always got the little blue icon, lets you know it's cold. You got your hot handle, with the little red icon, you know it's hot. And then, just water comes out. It's just water. And it's always white, clear, whatever you want to call it. But, Steven's wearing blue. His coffin was a regular looking coffin, but it had a lot of blue trim. Jake's coffin was bright red. Bro, how'd you get a red coffin? And I'm assuming he would probably be wearing red if he came out. But then you have Mark just wearing white, being the neutral. So Steven handled the filter for all of his cool, calm emotions, and Jake, all that rage, anger, and hot-headed stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Steven thinks that he is the main one, and very unceremoniously finds out. Mark is purposely hiding parts of himself from himself, and that I think that's why he's unbalanced.
Yeah.
Because he is purposely hiding these things. With Jake being an unknown, like that's, you don't know what you don't know. You can't be held accountable for what you don't know.
Yep.
So I think that's why Jake is not part of the equation when it comes to balance. But Jake is definitely there. I'm pretty sure we saw Jake in this episode. First time he blinked into, or not blinked into, but he appeared in Arthur Harrow's office. He had that cut on his nose, and that in the comics, like that little bandage on his nose is taken directly from the comic. Yeah. So like he had a different accent. He tried to attack himself.
Was that also the same scene where they mentioned Chicago?
Yeah.
Then
yeah, the very first scene where he says Mark, and the guy kind of looks confused. The whole time is just kind of like, what is going on? And then he tells him, hey, you're in Chicago, and also a big Easter egg. It's the same mental institution, fictional, as the one mentioned in the comics. That it takes place in the comics.
This is not gonna end well. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
So many good comics Easter eggs. So he's sitting there and he mentions that they're in Chicago, and they're in this mental institution, and what's going on and everything. And he was like, "You're not a doctor. You're not a doctor." And he gets very New Yorky there.
Yeah.
And his accent changes a little bit, and even like his attitude and his demeanor changes a little bit. It could be just Mark in distress, but I think my theory is that Jake is okay. So skipping ahead just a little bit. Okay, he created Mark, or he created Steven so that he could live in a world where things were okay, right? So he could live, so he could have a safe space for his mind to relax and live in peace. And we see that when in the moment when Steven finally sees that moment where his mind fractures for the first time, which was hard to watch. It was just, man. So when his mind fractures there, and then his mom comes in, and he's still Steven, but Steven doesn't remember that.
Yeah.
And the very opening of the episode with her screaming at him that it's his fault, and she's standing over him, that is the moment, immediately when that scene cuts, that's what happens, right? Yeah. That's what he sees. So either Ghost is gassy. My dog. Oof. So the moment when she comes in and she gets the belt, obviously Mark's not, or Steven's not supposed to see that.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Yes. Ghost is tearing it up now. Ghost. All right, out. Ghost, out, Ghost. Go. Go.
Good goodness.
Go. Man, I gave him a treat over.
Cool. Go.
Go lay down. Go lay down. You're okay. Whew. It's a live stream, y'all.
Oh.
Good thing y'all don't have smell-o-vision, because
goodness.
Thank you for your gifts, Ghost.
Mark, Steven.
Yeah, so Steven was created, so Steven's not supposed to see that. That's why Mark was trying to keep him out of that room, out of that memory, because he's not supposed to see that side of his mom.
No.
He wanted to hide that from himself, where he wanted to, part of him did not want to believe that she could do those things to him.
Yeah.
But Mark is somewhere in the middle, and I think the extremes of the abuse, where she was beating him and she was yelling obscenities at him and verbally abusing him, in those extreme moments is when Jake was formed, and he's the one that takes it.
Took it on the chin.
He takes it on the chin. That's what Jake does. He's the one that takes. He shows up when things are too hard to deal with, or when things need to get done that Mark cannot do.
Yeah.
Like for instance, a few episodes earlier, when Mark awoke and he was in the process of stabbing somebody.
Yeah.
Like Jake took care of it. He just took care of it. He's like, look, I got you. This is too hard. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's the one that protects them. He's the protector, I guess. But he's also the most abused and the most damaged of them.
He's the most.
He's the darkest.
What is not the darkest? What is the? It's a thing. God dang, I can't think of what it. I've heard it once. Like, if you're the mentality of an assassin, of careless? No, not I can't think of it.
Cold, calculated.
There we go. He's the coldest.
Okay.
Like he.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because I think. So like you said, the cold and the hot, right?
Uh-huh.
So Mark has to balance these extremities, right? Of like trying to be able to live in a world and deal with the fact that his mother does the things to him that she did. But also he has got to find a way to express that. And I think that's what Jake is. Jake is the one, like when the pot boils over, that's Jake. It shows up, it boils over. Jake's all over the place.
Jake's all over the place.
and then once the pot cools down, Mark comes back. And so Mark is aware. He's not aware of Jake, but he is aware that the abuse was difficult, and he's aware, like he saw a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
He could deal with a lot of it, but there are times when it's too much.
Yeah.
And his mind created Jake to protect him from the harshest of moments.
Okay.
That's my theory, and that's the point. I think that is representative of Red.
Yeah. But they also, just adding to it, with them being still their own person in a sense, like there are things Steven just won't do. Like even when he was like, we gotta talk to these guys, and even on the roof, and they were up there fighting. It's like, no, we don't gotta fight them, and he ended up befriending them. It's like if someone's like, Mark, you have to shoot this undead child or he'll take over the world. And Mark's like, he's still just a kid. Undead or not, he's still just a kid. And Steven definitely won't. And then, like, push comes to shove, he has Layla has Layla about to put his little undead hands through her neck. And then Mark's like, he's still just a kid. Snap out. Jake, pop, 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 pop.
I got you.
And then he is good. It's like, all right, work's done.
Not to mention the scene, I think it was episode 1 or 2, where the expert driving skills,
mm-hmm.
and Steven just woke up and was like, how did the truck get backwards?
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Jake is a cab driver. He's the driver.
He's the driver.
So it's possible that, I mean, I don't know how. We know Mark is a mercenary and he's very capable,
mm-hmm.
but we don't know how capable. And according to Steven, also had a little Fight Club realization there too. Is like, I know this because Mark knows this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I know this because Tyler knows this. So that's how at the end Steven was able to pick up the bat and handle himself in the moment, and whereas before he was just like, so he's reconciled, where they are fully aware, and they are in balance and in sync now, and they can perform their functions and pass the ball and play as a team. However, I think just like Mark created Steven to protect Mark, Jake is the one that steps in to protect Mark.
Yeah.
So Mark protects Steven, but Jake protects Mark. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I think just like there were layers, like Inception, like of consciousness in this, layers of levels of consciousness. I think that is also the same as Mark's brain. That's why.
Yeah.
Another reason. Plus in all the promo material, there are 3 faces. He's got 3 faces.
Yeah. So he's there. We've probably seen him. They didn't say it expressly, but yeah, it all makes sense. What else? Oh, the dead people. Mark's ledger is very red. Very red.
It's a wonder that Black Widow doesn't have these. Her brain is built differently. That it didn't fracture the same. That doesn't mean that Mark is weaker or anything like that. He was a child when these things happened. Granted, so was I almost said Scarlet, but
I never got that.
so was Black Widow.
Yeah.
They were trained in a different way.
Well, I mean, I never got that. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about that, but not that. It was the Soul Stone, because that keeps coming back in my mind every time I hear Black Widow. And Tony snapping, and why he didn't see Black Widow. Because I mean, it's a deleted scene still. He saw his daughter. I mean, I know Thanos saw Gamora, but that makes sense to me because he used Gamora to make the stone.
Yeah. And she's in the Soul Stone, potentially.
And she's in the Soul Stone, wherever it is.
She's not in Thor: Love
Oh,
and Thunder,
snap!
from what we could tell.
That's how she's going to come back in Guardians 3 if she comes back.
She just awakened somewhere. So there's 2 Gamoras.
It's
Because
not-
there's still the other Gamora out there.
She's going to have 2 Gamoras in one head. Because if he actually destroyed the Soul Stones, the energy cannot just be gone. It turned into something else. And since Gamora is the Soul Stone, and there's a 2014 Gamora running around in space.
I don't think she is the Soul Stone. I think she's trapped in it. Like her consciousness.
I mean,
so maybe her body, I don't know if her body's
her
dead.
body's gone.
Yeah.
Like
So you think her consciousness will just find that other body and cohabitate it?
Yep.
Interesting.
And that will be a whole thing in the movie of them just going that and passing, kind of going back and forth. And this itself,
Like how many different ways are we going to come about this? We're dealing with Vision doing that, the same thing, and now we got Moon Knight diving headlong into it.
I think they're gonna do it one more time with Gamora.
Possibly. Because I mean, we know it's that you can be in the same timeline as yourself because they traveled back in time. We know that's a thing that's possible.
You can even interact with yourself.
Yeah, because we saw Cap fight Cap.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know.
At the current moment, there's no consequences to time travel because whatever the new TVA is, we don't know how they monitor it or what their role actually is.
Yeah, because, and so like, my shirt, the fractured Marvel, like that's this whole phase.
Yeah.
With everything, whether it's fractured personalities or fractured timelines or fractured plots. I mean, like, Loki basically reset the timeline, and there are multiple timelines. So Doctor Strange is probably going to be the closest thing we get, or at least the soonest, that is going to kind of explain, how things work together. Because Spider-Man No Way Home explored it a little bit, but it seemed completely unrelated to Loki
Yeah.
and how things happened in Loki. Although this is coming from the Sony side, so it kind of sort of makes sense. But, and then if you've seen Morbius and those scenes.
I was right. Oh, you watched the movie, so that we can talk about
I
this
did
part.
watch more. Did you watch Morbius?
I did not watch Morbius. I talked to somebody about the end because I was right.
Bro. Like,
So-
Sony is not on the same boat as Marvel. They're on the same ocean, maybe.
Same ocean, not same boat.
Planet, maybe. Not the same boat. They don't even, like... They're driving a jet ski, calling it a cruise ship.
A little bit, yeah. It's
Like, they don't get it.
They
They don't
don't.
get it.
they just need to give it back to Marvel.
Yeah, they need to stop.
But, yeah. So, but yeah.
Yeah, you have to I'm sorry, you have to respect the rules that you've built already.
Yep.
that is how plot works. Like, you have to respect the rules that you laid down for the story. You cannot change the rules and act like it's not a thing.
I talked about that already.
Like, and that's why Moon Knight is so freaking good, because although it does seem to change midstream, there is enough to anchor us back to what happened before, to show that it has been a thing all along, that is the same rules and that they have been established, that they're not just switching things up midstream.
Yes.
Because that is storytelling. That is puzzle building. That
So when
you
you're getting
reverse engineer. This is my soapbox.
Yes,
Like,
that's
as like an architect personality, like this is my thing. Like, if you do the whole Briggs Myers things, I don't really. But anyways, that's my personality as an architect. So like reverse engineering, like things have to connect. You can't M. Night Shyamalan and just throw a curveball without there being some hint of it before, that it was underlying there all along, just not recognizable as the thing until you flip it over and it was there the whole time, and that's when you blow people's minds. That's what Moon Knight has done.
Yes.
And that Sony, stop. Okay. Anyways, yes. I mean, Moon Knight, good God. Like, yes. Yes, thank you.
So, getting back, there's like really only like two things left. It was very sad. The relationship between him and his mom has deteriorated after the death of his little brother. It was a descent to watch.
Yeah. So many things in his past that made sense to why he is the way he is, and even that I don't know why there's a cave in the middle of Chicago, but like,
Yeah.
where is this, rural Chicago? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, as they're going into the cave, there's a bird skeleton right there, and that either that can be an illusion that Khonshu was there all along and had been following him all along, which in the comics we find out that Khonshu had been kind of like what is it called, grooming him the entire time. So I mean, that could be an allusion to that, or just that thing planted in his mind in that moment is why Khonshu looks the way he does. And that's why the whole Laters Gators thing, the whole the goldfish with the gimpy fin, that's the one his brother was drawing. So I mean, the water in the cave, I mean, with the goldfish tank and the boat and the boat on the sands of water, which was freaking amazing. Like, they really like put their budget in this.
It's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, there's a lot. I think Khonshu's been, if it's not all in his mind, please, that's all I'm begging. Khonshu is definitely grooming him, because any of the gods, as you know from like Loki, and him being kind of even
Twisted.
yeah, they can manipulate things in ways that look like naturally occurring or happenstance or whatever you want to call it, and then like put you in a situation to where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, little kitten, have you lost your home? Come here, I got some treats for you. Also, I need you to be my avatar, as they shove their hand down your throat.
Mm-hmm. And big reveal, they were the one that's the one that destroyed the home. So
yeah, so the entire time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
and huge reveal there with the comic accurate origin story.
Yep.
So we got his origin story like in a flashback, which was really cool.
Yep.
And also the confirmation that Bushmaster was the one. So I did look it up. Bushmaster is not the one from the Netflix Luke Cage. Yeah, that's Diamondback.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that was her first season. Second season. I'm telling you.
Because
First season.
I looked it up, Matt. Maybe I didn't
First
look far
season he
enough.
did fight Diamondback. Because he had the exosuit and he was, now you're done, Luke. Yeah. So
I need to go back and watch.
But second season, because like it's that in the trailer, this is the one that pops out the most. Him walking down the street, and then someone like starts recording, and then Bushmaster comes up, hits him with a couple kicks, puts him down, lands a flip wearing a white suit, flexes the suit. Luke Cage gets up, and he's bleeding from his nose.
Okay, because I had Googled Luke Cage Bushmaster and nothing came up.
We'll look it up after this.
I need to. So I mean, if that's the case though, and nobody else has mentioned it, so I thought maybe it was like, well, maybe it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But it apparently is. Possibly. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up again. I'm very confused right now. But yeah, I mean, if that's a thing, then without showing his face, I mean, it could be the same dude.
Could be the
now
same
that
dude.
now that the Netflix series are canon.
Yes. So, we'll see about that. But the only thing that is left through all of this, also, she turned the boat back. The gates were closed. That's a problem. Those aren't supposed to be closed.
Osiris's gates.
Osiris's gates.
I didn't notice that. In that moment, like, I mean, it happened so fast that Mark was in the Sea of Reeds, the Field of Reeds.
So, let's just go ahead and go through this last sequence now, because I think that's about it. So, they're on the boat. She's like, fam, your scales ain't balanced. Over the boat you go. Just real quick, nonchalantly, I don't care. I have to do this for a living.
Yeah. Sorry, I was rooting for you.
So then she brings up the friggin' that mess. I'm like, oh, nope. This is going to be horrible. But it ends up being... ends up being...
We even got the baboons.
Yeah. Everyone he killed is the ones who are going to drag him down. And I'm like, oh... This is rough. And they were just going for Mark. They weren't going for Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's the original.
Yeah.
And then in Steven fashion, he protected Mark.
He protected Mark. And then
he was bing bonged.
And yeah, he turned to sandstone.
Sandstone?
Sandstone. He turned to sandstone.
I think Steven's coming back.
I think he has to.
I think he has to.
But we'll see.
Well, I mean, we know from casting that Tawet is going to be in episode 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did like the fact that they had Anubis holding the scales. Even though I wish we could have seen Anubis. That would have been really great.
I also think...
who's going to approach him in the field of reeds? Like, how is he getting back? Is like the thing.
Could be Osiris.
Or is he just been dead the entire time? I mean, is this the moment? Like, has all this been fake? And this is the moment where he wakes up and he's laying in front of the statue of Khonshu, and he's been resurrected. Enter the MCU. I mean,
oh, what if what's his name? Kronos, Egyptian god of time.
No, Kronos is Greek. I don't know. I'm ignorant of Egyptian gods, really.
Well, the Egyptian god,
like the Prince of Egypt once.
Egypt once. I thought he was a giant snake, or was that the one I made? I don't know. Well, yeah.
The one you made. There's probably somewhere. I mean, there was many.
Yes. Like, gives him a glimpse of, like, if you accept this is what will happen. And then it ends up being him there, and then, like, he says no, and then dies. Yeah. So.
I mean, that would be a way to keep it a limited series.
Yeah.
As they're submitting it as a limited series for an Emmy. I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, Oscar Isaac wants to do more Moon Knight, so they're kind of waiting to see. But I would love for them to bring in Midnight Suns and have him fighting alongside Blade and Black Knight and all these folks. I mean, we're already getting a Werewolf by Night Halloween special.
Yeah.
I think next year, actually. I don't think it's happening this year. But also there was another QR code on one of the front of the doors. It was the Moon Knight #1.
Which one? Like the Asylum one?
Mm-hmm. No. No, it was like actual, like his first independent series.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the other ones were like his appearance in Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
Like his first appearance, but this is like his
first solo.
Yeah, his first solo comic.
Okay. So yeah, that's the only other thing that the thing I can think of, if I can say words right, is there's only one episode left. I don't know how long this next episode is supposed to be. I don't know how they're gonna end up wrapping this up. I know how I don't want them to wrap it up, but it has to be wrapped up. He ended up in the.
If you're gonna give people what they don't want, it better be so good that it's like, oh, we didn't know that we wanted that.
Yeah, has to be that. I mean, he's in the field of reeds. He can be at peace.
He's a dead man.
Yeah. Oh. That's how he's gonna get out.
Jake is still on the boat.
I mean, Jake's still on the boat, but also still in here. Mm-hmm. If he finds out Jake's in here, then starts talking to Jake, he'll unbalance his scales and he'll get kicked out. I don't know if it's a thing of like once you're in type of thing, or if it's a thing of you then become at peace. Because if you're a healthy-minded human, I think that's fine to say.
I don't know. Apparently, he's nothing Talbot has ever encountered.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't have a paper for this.
So, like, say, we'll use Captain America. Say Captain America's in the same situation. We know Captain America does not have DID, and he ends up dying. His scales end up balancing. He's only has to worry about the one heart. Mm-hmm. The fact that Mark had two hearts on there, and then when Steven died, that's when it became balanced.
Right, which is also another question, because it didn't become balanced when Steven became aware of himself.
No. If anything, it was. Yeah. It started to get worse.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like it was starting to even out, but it could never just be flat out.
Yeah. It was basically when. So I don't know how to read it. Like was it when Steven, like the death of Steven,
It was Stephen dying.
Because that's not how DID works. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the altars don't die like that or whatever, and that's not how you get healed of DID.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, liberties, comic books, fantasy, but was it either Stephen dying or was it the fact that Stephen sacrificed himself to protect Mark?
Stephen dying.
Stephen dying?
I feel like, because they've established that they've established that they are real and different, but the same. Because, and even like them being like magically powered, the Avatar outfits, when he's in the Moon Knight outfit,
Right, yeah, they are separate entities.
they are separate entities.
Yeah, because, I mean, Stephen's got a whole life. Like, I thought that Stephen had just kind of appeared. Like, he said, you know, like, so he, 2 months ago, his mom died. And that's when Stephen woke up in basically Chicago and was like, "Oh, I'm lost," and went to London and got his own place because that's where he's from, because he's Stephen Grant, you know. And it also explains like that accent, why everybody was like, "Oh," like if I would have gotten DID when I was a child and the altar had a British accent, he would be sounding like Dick Van Dyke, like, Mary Poppins. You know, it's like, so I mean that makes sense.
Yeah.
That his altar would be his interpretation of that person.
Mm-hmm. But then he became a full-on person. Mm-hmm. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Who was able to get a job and various other things.
Yeah, and like how did he get a social security number? Well,
because they got
he's British, right? He's not American. So, like, how did he get a passport? How did he travel?
They answered the question earlier in the show.
Did they?
Yeah. The same woman that Layla went to, who makes everything. I bet money he had stuff made for at least Stephen. And Jake might have then there later went himself and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna need some stuff." And his probably says Scotty. But
that's very possible because the lady Dylan, same name, at the museum, like Mark's not interested in getting a date.
No.
It had to be Jake.
Yep.
Because he was like, "Bro, you need to move on."
Yeah.
And also, who's taking care of the goldfish? Who's sending the postcards?
Yep.
Jake. Jake is the one holding it all together, protecting Mark, and while Mark protects Stephen.
I think so. That's how he's gonna get out of the field of reeds. He's gonna realize he's at peace.
Jake's gonna show up and be like, "Hey, we ain't done yet here."
Yeah. Start slapping them around. And then, back on the boat you go. And then Stephen will then probably still appear. So, it's going to be... The way he's going to get out is he's going to have to descend deeper into madness. And then...
Ooh, will we get to see the underworld?
Oh.
I mean, we saw the sand zombies.
Yeah.
Which was great.
I don't want to. So, but I think, he's going to have to
Quinn
just
starts swinging. Quinn hates horror stuff.
Boy, howdy.
Bruh, I'm not sitting next to you during Doctor Strange.
I'll be fine.
It's supposed to be like full-on horror movie.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's directed by Sam Raimi. It's supposed to be big Evil Dead 2 references. And
I'll tell Shay to get the face mask.
the face mask? I like sitting in between him and Andrew, so I can like whisper back and forth and just like be part of like the circle and everything. It's like, oh shit, oh was it supposed to be like that? Because Andrew reads like he's read all of this, and Quinn has read I think all of it too, but yeah. So, dude, so it's just like I'm just like the giddy child is like, oh, that was cool. Is that a thing? He's like, yeah.
So yes, but
Yeah.
I don't there's anything else in this episode?
Oh, yeah. So the accent makes sense. Also, the mirrors. We like in the moment when his mind was fractured, there was a mirror right there. Also, it was a nice costume choice of the Czechs. So like I was watching, I think the Screen Crush one was talking about the costuming, where Mark mostly wears white, Steven wears blue, and Jake is going to wear red, probably. But so he was wearing like plaid checks, right, of blue and white, when he fractured. So he was whole, and then later on into his birthday party, he was wearing all white. So he could have already been conchued already.
Yeah.
He's wearing a white hoodie at that point at his birthday party. But there are solid white squares and solid blue squares, but there's also a third square that is kind of like a mix of both. So,
yeah.
I mean, Jake's still represented in there.
He's still represented. He just hasn't needed to be raged. Like the rage is hadn't filled in.
I think in that moment, like at that very first moment of the show that we see, like that's Jake's first memory.
Probably.
That's the moment Jake showed up. So like Steven showed up. Oops. Steven showed up to comfort him and help his mind relax, and then Jake showed up to deal with it.
Yep.
And Mark is cradled between the two.
We're calling it.
So
Jake's gonna show up, slap Mark around, let her get out.
That scene that first scene where he's got the cut on his nose and they stab him in the neck, like I'm 110% convinced that's Jake in that moment. And even there are a couple. There's a scene where he's wearing the black Cubs hat, and other people swear that he's also Jake in that moment because his accent is a little different. That it could just be, Oscar Isaac trying to do a Chicago accent and just not getting it quite right in the moment, because sometimes it's hard to keep it consistent like that unless you've got like a vocal dialect coach or something right there saying, hey, you got a little, And I would imagine for something like this they would have that, because that would be imperative to nail the character in those moments. So it's kind of like have you ever seen Atomic Blonde? So like the first time I watched it, I was like, man, her accent is all over the place. And then you find out at the end, and it's just like, bruh, no wonder. It's like, duh. And so I think that's kind of like where we're hitting with this character. Yeah. So it's just so much. So it's so good. I love it.
So good. All right. Anything else with the episode?
I can't think of anything else for the episode, but I need to get my dog's colon cleansed.
Yeah, it's bad. we got one to go. Gonna see how they're gonna wrap this up, and then hopefully Moon Knight will show up in some other stuff.
Yes, we did get the call out. You are my Moon Knight.
Good God, I forgot how much I dislike Conchu. So
yeah, it's like your mind is fractured. I can feel it.
Watering at the bits.
Yeah, even Steven was like from the very beginning.
All right.
Anyway,
what news we got, Dylan?
So that's it for the episode. Let me go through here. Roses are red, April is gray, but in a few days, it's gonna be May.
It will be.
I had that pulled up to share with my brother, the Justin Timberlake thing, because he used to have like bleached curly hair. So I still send that to him every year. He loves it. So let me find, how far back am I going?
Conchu. Conchu can't chew. He really can't.
Can't?
He doesn't have a mouth.
He does. He's got a beak.
Dude, his head's floating.
All right, so in Marvel news, Terry Crews is taking on a very unexpected role, and a role that most of us will probably never see him in.
What?
In the MCU.
What?
He will be playing Centurion Tal Merrick, a new character for the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disney World.
Get out of here. All right.
He will be a commander of the Star Charter and close advisor to Nova Prime.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
Yep. So Nova Prime, Glenn Close will be in this ride as well. So she is reprising her role, which is cool. So yeah, CinemaCon was this week, and I think it's still going on. So we got a little bit of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You might think this is funny. So yeah, Sony is at it again, still trying to flesh out this Spider-Man universe, right? El Muerto is going to be played by Bad Bunny.
All right, goodbye. Thank you all. Have a good night. I am... Why? Why?
I don't know. It's legit. It's legit. Oh, man. Deep cuts. Also, Sony announced Venom 3 is on the way. And Across the Spider-Verse has the largest crew of any animated movie ever.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah. Also, the first 15 minutes of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse were shown at CinemaCon, revealing a battle with Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man 2009, and the villain Vulture. So she's in her, from what I understand, she's in her universe, and she is fighting the Vulture, like that version.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man 2099 shows up to kind of help her, and like right as he's about to like finish her off, Spider-Man 2099 shows. So spoiler alert on that, I guess.
Who is Oscar Isaac as well?
Yep.
So
This dude is in. Yeah, he's basically like who is it that's in everything? It's got the nerd crown. It's who plays Gamora? Zoe Saldana. There's somebody else I think that has the nerd crown that's in everything, but I can't think of it. But anyway, Oscar Isaac for sure.
yes.
Also, the third Spider-Verse film is going to be called Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Because, yeah. Into, Across, and Beyond. And Across the Spider-Verse is going to have over 240 different characters in it.
What is this, Space Jam?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's gonna cross, I think they said 6 different universes.
Okay.
So like they're gonna be jumping around.
They're gonna be jumping around instead of being in Miles.
Jumping around, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So also Thor Love and Thunder teaser came out last week, right? And it was fun. But then there was that little moment, Twitter hates Chris Pratt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's, because the stupid meme that's like one Chris has to go, and everybody piled on Chris Pratt, right? Because he goes to a Hillsong church and he's a Christian and he must be a gay hater, right?
Yeah.
Because Hillsong has, got that type of reputation. But from Hillsong's originally, so my background, I come from a non-denominational church background, and Hillsongs was big in the 90s. This, like when I was like really big into Hillsongs is from Australia, and they kind of branched out and they have like multiple churches across the world now. And he goes to a Hillsongs church. but that doesn't necessarily mean that they hold the same belief on certain things. Like they're allowed certain autonomies. Plus, whoever's the pastor is kind of, you know.
Yeah.
So, but Chris Pratt has come out publicly saying that he is not against gay people or anything like that. He's pro-gay, and so is his church and all this stuff, right? But you know, they don't believe it because Hillsong. So in this teaser trailer, there's the moment where Thor is lovingly looking at him, and he says, you know, look into the eyes of the ones you love, and Thor is having that moment, and he goes, what, bro, not me. And that's all he says, and it's just played for laughs.
Yeah.
Well, Twitter or whoever has piled on Chris Pratt, saying, assuming that he has written this scene because he is anti-gay to show everybody how anti-gay he is, and to you know, ice Thor here.
But Thor isn't okay. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I mean, according to Loki, you know, it's been a long. They live long lives. So who knows? And Thor's trying to find himself. Maybe he is. I don't know. Anyways, in this moment, he just, you know, was like, basically just, Thor, get out of my face, you know. And he's had that with Thor. Like, their back and forth is a thing, right?
Did y'all not watch Infinity War?
I'm saying. So, I say the internet, but probably Twitter, just kind of jumped on Chris Pratt's back and piled on and acting, you know, hey, just, you know, trying to cancel him once again, and doesn't want him to play Star-Lord anymore, and all these blah, 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 blah. James Gunn came out in his defense, was like, look, he's always going to be Star-Lord. He is Star-Lord. I'm not going to do a Star-Lord without Chris Pratt. You can forget about it. So kudos to James Gunn for standing up for Chris Pratt, who obviously did not write that scene or film that scene, or he just said the words, guys. He's an actor, okay? Anyways, yeah, people are dumb. Okay, so like I said earlier, Doctor Strange 2 has a teaser that seems to include the
Living Tribunal.
The Living Tribunal. I'm looking right at him and I can't think of the word. Yeah. So Living Tribunal has been hinted at in Doctor Strange 1 when he had the staff of the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
And also in Loki when they were in the Void and there was a stone, like a statue head of the Living Tribunal's head, right? And he's the one with the 3 heads, right?
Yes.
I don't know how well you can see that, but there it is.
Well enough.
Yeah. You can look it up. So yeah, in a teaser online, when they're falling through the universes with America Chavez, they pass through this one that it's like 3 different faces, but they're all, it's like 3. He's got 3 faces, but they're all on the same head, right?
Yeah.
But in this, you can see each face, and it is like, it's undeniable that is who this is.
Yeah.
That they're seeing, that we're seeing here. So, anyways, okay. So, with CinemaCon, Kevin Feige has said that Marvel has a plan, is working on their plan to go up through the next 10 years, through 2032.
Damn. How?
So, like, okay, so one of the big things about Marvel and why it got off the ground like it did, like, of course, you know, they experimented with Iron Man and, you know, the first phase to see where it would go, and then they built it off of there. Of course, we saw Nick Fury come in, building a team, and those were the big teasers that it's all connected, it all works together, it's a giant multi-universe, and it's all the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was like, that was the thing, right? It's like, oh, now everybody wants a cinematic universe, right? Everybody's trying to do it now. And it was like the first time it had ever been done. It was such a huge feat, never been done. And large part in credit to Kevin Feige, making sure that things were consistent. And, you know, they've got a list of power levels so that when when one hero shows up in another property, that they don't seem off, that they are themselves, and they don't are OP for this whatever, right? They fit in. So everything fits together in all the pieces, and there's a lot of moving pieces, and the plan going forward, and so Kevin Feige is hailed as the best producer of our time, right? Because of all these things that he has lined out and meticulously placed and puzzled out and engineered, right? But then along come the Russo brothers, who did, Captain America 2, they did Captain America 3, Civil War, and then Avengers 3 and 4. Well, they said that there's really no plan, which was kind of like, really? Because we thought there was a plan. We've always thought there was a plan. We were told there was a plan. And then the Russos were like, we just kind of, we make it up as we go along. And it was like, what? But then after Infinity War, or Endgame, it seems like this new phase, of course, everything's been thrown a loop because of COVID and everything, but it seems like some of these things are unrelated. Yeah. Even though they're loosely related, but it seems like just the reset of, it feels like we're in phase 1 again, where everything's experimental and it's connected, but not really, and we're not really sure where it's going or anything. And because we see Loki, and then we see Spider-Man, No Way Home, and now Doctor Strange, and it's like, okay, the multiverse thing is happening, but is it connected? Like, who broke the multiverse? You know what I mean? Like, we got all these questions, right? Hopefully answered next weekend. But it does seem that Kevin Feige does have a plan. Like, there is something happening, that they not just a slate of movies happening, but there is a plan to make sure that they are all connected and they're all cohesive. So Russo brothers, I don't know. Maybe they just had that much freedom and they were surprised. I don't know.
Oh, they're just playing coy.
Two-Face, get down. My cat is climbing on stuff because she is adventurous. Yes, my cat's name is Two-Face. So here is the. I'll get into this in a second because I'll name what's next up in the MCU. Okay. Also, we got at CinemaCon we got first footage of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which teased Shuri leading Wakanda into battle with Nakia and Okoye. I can't say words right now.
It's okay.
Anyways, yeah, Nakia and Okoye. I'm putting my emphasis on the last one. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the three powerhouses of Black Panther leading Wakanda into battle. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was anything else. Yep. That's it. Okay, so, yep, the new plan goes up to 2032. Sorry, some of these are...
duplicates.
Yeah, duplicates. That's something here. Okay, yeah, so Morbius will hit digital on May 19th, which is a very quick turnaround.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Yeah, very lackluster on that. Also, rumors. Guess who's showing up in Multiverse of Madness? You've heard that?
Yeah, heard that one.
Big rumor right now is that we will see Mr. Fantastic and we will see a newly cast Wolverine. Will not be Hugh Jackman.
I understand that. Also, yeah,
Scott Eastwood, please.
Little dude from Kingsman, the first two.
Eggsy?
Yep.
Nah, I'm not.
He can do it. Give the kid a chance.
I like him, but I don't like him for Wolverine.
I mean, if You can be Elton John. You can be anything. All right.
I mean, he's got the whole Hugh Jackman thing down with the Mr. Broadway sing and dance.
All right.
I don't like. I'm gonna be upset if he's Wolverine. He's gonna have to like blow it out the box.
He will blow it out the water because they don't cast wrong.
Do they though?
They don't. I haven't.
That's because they just basically recast everybody from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Or they make Lovecraft Country cancel.
Bruh. You trying to get me depressed.
Alright.
Okay. Let me find my... Here we go. Alright, so... what's up next in the MCU? We've got, of course, Doctor Strange this weekend on May 6th.
Next weekend.
Yep, next weekend. We've got Thor, Love and Thunder on July 8th. We've got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, November 11th. We've got The Marvels, Captain Marvel 2 on February 17th, 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. So still a year away for that. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, July 28th, 2023. So,
yeah, we got some gaps.
Yeah. As far as shows go, in 2022, we're supposed to be getting She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, and What If Season 2, as well as Ms. Marvel, which will hit on June 8th, 2022. The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special will be late this year as well. No solid dates on She-Hulk or Secret Invasion or What If Season 2.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
What If season. I think What If Season 2 will probably... I wouldn't be surprised if we get a secret trailer at like beginning before Doctor Strange.
For Secret Invasion?
Not Secret Invasion.
Oh, for What If?
Yeah.
Really?
Just like them just throwing there as a teaser.
Because usually in the theater they do theatrical released trailers.
I mean, if it's, Disney stuff, they could throw in and say...
I mean, if they wanted to.
Yeah. Because I feel like...
Also, apparently, in a new teaser that came out today, we can very clearly see Captain Carter.
That's cool.
So her shield is very clearly visible in the original poster too, in one of the shards. So we knew she was going to be in there. So that makes sense for the What If tie-in and dealing with the multiverse, and she's the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Yep.
Captain. And if they're setting up the whole Captain Britain's thing.
I think What If Season 2 is going to come out very soon after Multiverse of Madness, because I think a few of the What Ifs are going to deal with some of the X-Men.
You think so?
I think they're going to do some X-Men What Ifs.
I wouldn't doubt it. That would be
could
really
even
cool.
like expand.
How are they going to do What Ifs? How are they going to do What Ifs for something that hasn't happened in the MCU?
Expanding on the universe that already existed, giving it different stories.
Oh, because with Patrick Stewart being in it, and I mean, he came from somewhere. Yeah, that makes sense. That would be pretty crazy, because we've got a gap.
And
we've only got a month between Doctor Strange 2 and Ms. Marvel. There's no time for What If.
I understand them announcing it.
Announcing it. I can see that. Yeah.
And also
there's a big gap between Thor and Black Panther that we could fill in. We've got July to November where we could fill in She-Hulk, Secret Invasion.
10 episodes of What If.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot. They cramming it in there.
That's what she said. All right.
Sorry. I had to get it. So, yeah, man, three whole seasons. Not to mention Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like they are really like, because they're really butting this up against itself, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming out on the heels of Moon Knight.
Yep.
And what comes up after Obi-Wan? Miss Marvel.
Yep.
And then what comes after Miss Marvel?
They're just giving you that
Thor.
that constant stream.
What comes after Thor, though?
I don't know. What if?
What would make sense?
Secret Invasion? Oh, Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion would make sense
Yeah.
for Thor?
Yes. Because no matter what he is dealing with, he is in space. All you need is 5 minutes and one scene to set up a whole series.
Well, we did get that scene at the end of WandaVision.
Yeah. And you can get an end credit scene in Thor. Shoot, just have and it'd
Because
be like
WandaVision could also lead into Secret Invasion, like very easily. And WandaVision does lead into Doctor Strange too.
I'll set it up for you. We'll just, here. It'll be random as hell. We'll use Hercules. He's not in the movie, but I'm putting him in there.
Fingers crossed. Like somebody mentioned Henry Cavill as Hercules, and I kind of would like to see that.
That'd be cool. He's just walking up. He lands his chariot on an asteroid. There's this. It's a hidden spaceship. He walks up there. He just, dum dum dum. Door opens. You're late. He goes over, dips his head in.
This is what it's like playing D&D with Quinn, by the way. He's always got this reenactments. It's awesome.
Dips his head in. His chin turns to that nasty scroll mess. Sorry, are the others on Earth yet? And then end.
Where Thor turns into a scroll?
Not Thor.
Who?
Hercules.
Hercules.
Yeah.
Okay, because comics.
Yeah.
I need to read that series because, yeah, I love.
If Thor was
I
a
love
scroll, we're screwed.
Bruh.
We're done.
Yeah.
But all right.
I mean, we already did. Well, I mean, we already did Civil War without what's Lawrence Fishburne's character in MCU that was in Ant-Man.
Lawrence Fishburne.
He was in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yep, I see him. I'm
Yeah,
looking
that
right
was
at
like
him.
one of the
Yeah.
big deals with like the end of the war in the comics.
Yep, and I'm looking right at him. I cannot think of his name.
Gigantor. That's not right.
Right.
I can't think of his name.
Doctor Insert Name.
What's another pun for big guy?
Giant. I don't know.
Oh, damn.
It'll come to us later.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyways, yeah. In the comics, his death is like the end. When Android Thor kills him,
Yes.
Thor's already got an android eye.
Yes. Oh.
And his eyes are particularly blue in this teaser. Whereas before, Thor had...
On brown eye. Oh, crap. Thor's a scroll. Oh. It's not Hercules knocking on the ship. It's Thor. I'm heading back to Earth now.
Bruh, Chris Hemsworth would be so down for that.
Yep.
Man, could you... Oh, I just want to see... Valkyrie is up... Okay, we're going to have to do a Thor teaser thing because we're going to get into this. Okay, all right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. And watch for our Thor teaser breakdown. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you know when we drop new videos and when we go live and all that good stuff. So, yeah. Also, check out the website at www.broken.pictures.com. I don't know why I did it like that, but anyways, yeah, we'll see you next time. I'm Dylan.
I'm Quinn.
Yeah, all right. Okay. All right. Peace.
Bye.